my name is Bri Richardson. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm the owner of the training company Elevate My Practice, and I am so excited to answer 5 questions today to help you get to know me a little bit better. I'm also going to share some things I've learned along the way that's going to help you grow your practice and get paid in full in 30 days. So the first question I'll be answering is, what inspired you to pursue a career in dentistry and what keeps you passionate today? Okay, honestly, I don't know that it was the dentistry itself as much as the people. Dentistry, we have this world of amazing people that are so friendly and a little bit nerdy, and I just feel so at home here. Everyone is so nice. I love that. But the real answer is, when I was 18 years old, I was thinking about a career that I could love as much as my mom loved her career, which was nursing. And as a 5-year-old kid, my mom was in nursing school, and she had all of these really big textbooks everywhere that I couldn't read, but I loved to look at the pictures. But the thing I didn't love about it was I was like, I don't know if I could do the stuff she talks about. That's kind of gross. And then also, she has to work every other Christmas, and she's the best nurse in the world. But sometimes she has to work overnights or work till 11 o'clock. So I wanted to find a career or a field that I could still be in the healthcare vicinity, but not have those kinds of hours. And aren't we lucky in dentistry? That's us. That is absolutely us. So I was super driven as a 17-year-old high schooler. There was this dental assisting school that was in my town on weekends. I was still in high school, but I was ready to get on with my life. I was graduating early and I wanted to start something. So I had my eye on hygiene school, and I was like, well, this is perfect because if I go to hygiene school, I will be set up for success because I'll already know a lot of stuff about how an office operates. So shout out Dr. Westermeyer, Dr. Martin, and Dr. Celine, because you changed my life. And I am so grateful for that dental assisting school that you did in your office on weekends, because it opened me up to this world that I didn't even know existed. I love it here. So I started as a dental assistant and doors opened. Then I transitioned to a business assistant and I ran the front desk. And then now that I own a training company, that's kind of a leap, but it wasn't on purpose. I wasn't like pursuing going and being a trainer. I didn't even know I could do it or would be good at it. So one day my dentist came up to me and said, hey, my dentist friend wants you to train their team. And he's like, would you be interested? I'd never trained anyone before. I was like 24 and I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm interested. I said yes before I was ready for sure, but I knew I could figure it out. So that training was amazing. It was 3 hours. The dentist was so happy. They paid me double what I quoted, which was very low because I didn't know what to quote. And they were just so happy. And I came away feeling really fulfilled and really excited about the trajectory that they were now on from 3 hours of training. It was amazing. So that's where I am now. I'm training all over the country and I'm going into practices pretty much every other week and also doing virtual training. And I'm just seeing their lives change and how much of their life they actually get back because the stress is gone. So they get to enjoy dentistry again. And that's why I love my job, because it is amazing and fulfilling. Question 2. Can you share a memorable patient success story that showcases the impact of modern dental technology? So this is kind of a patient success story for the whole practice. And I know that he will be comfortable if I share this story because he just shared it last night on my virtual series, which is public. And one of my coaching clients, he did training about a year and a half ago, and they implemented the paid in 30-day system. And we were specifically talking about insurance verifications being like the cornerstone, or insurance breakdowns. If you can get this part right, then you can estimate copays correctly or co-insurances correctly. You can foresee denials and not have these surprise balances for the patients without a ton of effort on your part if you just follow the system and do it in the same way every time, where the whole team knows how to do it and does it the right way. So this particular dentist had a year and a half ago when we started, he had 300,000 in claims over 90 days old. So just changing a couple of systems around, but very heavily the insurance breakdown system was a huge part of this. Just changing that, he shared yesterday that they have 3 claims open over 45 days old. That's amazing. And so much of this is coming from the technology and how it's advancing in insurance verification and breakdowns, and it's getting easier to spend a little less time doing it. But beyond that, having the system of connecting everything to the patient's group number so that the information shares and your team doesn't have to do the same work over and over when your patients have the same plan, it is life-changing. It is so amazing. Also, preparing claims correctly. This has made a big difference too, because the claims don't get delayed and they don't reject and ask for more information and then deny as a duplicate. And you're in this constant cycle of stuff that takes a lot of admin time. Auto notes for clinical notes. This is another one that, I mean, it's not super advanced technology, but if you use it, it's life-changing. And not just for the clinical team to be able to easily do the clinical notes, but also for your insurance team, because if they have all the information that they need to prepare the claim properly the first time, it'll get paid the first time. For example, if this isn't in your clinical note template, you should totally add it. Now's the time to take notes. So if you are replacing anything, a crown, a denture, partial, implant, anything that you can replace, specifically ask on your clinical note, is this a replacement? Yes or no. Take away the guesswork for your front office team. And if it is a replacement, say when the date was, because it might not be in your history. The patient might have had it before they were a patient there. While your clinical team is with the patient live, they can ask them, hey, how old was this? And give us a guess. If it's more than 10 years old, we can use that. If your replacement rule is 10 years and you say it's 10 years old, we're going to need a date. But most of the time, they can give you an estimate, and it's close enough for the insurance to work if they don't know the exact date. And if they don't really have a clue, it could be $1,000 on the line of them making a call to their old practice or not. It's worth it to find this information out accurately the first time. And also things like SRPs. Put in your clinical note the anesthetic used, the clinical appointment time, and the diagnosis, the reason that you're doing something, how many millimeters of bone loss from the CEJ. These are things insurance asks for that the clinical team knows. And if they know that they need it, they can just type it in because they just saw the patient, it's fresh on their mind. When the admin team has to look for it later, it's hard. So please make your clinical notes work for your narratives, and wherever there are gaps, fill them in. It's going to make everyone's job easier, and you're going to get paid faster. The only way for you to get paid in full in 30 days is to collect enough from the patient on the front end and foresee things that will deny, very much insurance verification and breakdown that system, and then for you to prepare the claim in a way that it will pay the first time. If you get those two things nailed, you will get paid in full in 30 days, the majority of the time. Elephant in the room. Is it every single time? No. There's going to be outliers. You're going to have that one insurance company where you call and Janine answers every time. And you're like, do you do everything, Janine? Because I worked here for 8 years and you're still the one answering the phone. Janine's amazing and she's a rock star, but it takes her longer than 30 days to process some claims for some groups. And that's just is what it is. So if you have a heavy patient base with Janine being the claims processor, well, that's understandable. Or if you have a ton of patients that you're out of network with FEP and their secondaries are something that you need the FEP EOB for, and you're having to ask the patient for it because you don't have portal access or whatever, there could be reasons where things that aren't paid in full in 30 days, but overall, they're kind of few and far between. And once you're a little bit in, you're going to have the old stuff paying and the new stuff. The combination should work out to where your collection ratio should be at very minimum 98% every month. If you are a startup, I'm not talking to you because startups have rapid growth. So if you're a startup and your collection ratio is lower than that, but your production has a high swing every month, look at like a 3-month ratio. Look at a 3-month timeline and get the average, because you don't want that to count against you. Or if you do full mouth rehab 1 month, but they paid for it the month before, your collection ratio the month before is amazing, this month is low. Well, we understand that. So look at the 3-month rolling period. Okay, question number 3. What emerging dental technology are you most excited about right now? Oh man, insurance verification software. I mean, the place that it's heading is really exciting. I don't think that it is all the way there yet to take the human element out. And I will die on that hill. This is the one thing that you have to fill in the blanks for. But It's getting there, and it is definitely taking the admin burden down a lot. So for example, Vine, I love Vine. Vine is something that I use and my clients use, and it's not the only one, but it's one of the best ones. So if you are needing to verify that the patients are eligible, you can set up the thing to go like 3 weeks out. Then you can turn on the little setting where it will text the patient if they're not eligible, if there's a problem. They can update it without your team intervening. It's amazing. If you have 200 patients on the schedule this week, and then you go to that filter and it says needs attention and there's 25, that just took your admin burden down from verifying 200 insurances down to 25. Look how much time that you just got back. That's amazing. I am also really excited about some of the other ones that they can go scrape the portals for you, where everyone knows that with some of the one-click tools, all you get is what insurance is releasing to you, which is, it's good for eligibility, but sometimes the breakdown, it doesn't have everything you need, especially if you're an office that does a lot of services or has multiple specialties, multiple providers. Sometimes there's just more that you need and you have to go to the portals for it. So I'm excited about where it's heading. I can't say I have one that I can recommend and stand on yet, but I think within the next year, I will have one that I can say reliably, this is the one. And I can't wait to see which one it is. The really cool thing about this technology getting better is that the information is going to get more and more accurate, more and more real time, and less manual. Teams don't have time to do insurance breakdowns all of the time, especially in network practices. You guys have a lot of new patients and a lot of new insurances coming in, and just a lot of patients in general. There's a lot of stuff to verify. And if your team member is the person that's also answering the phones, that's verifying insurance, they're getting interrupted a lot. So what should have taken them 2 hours to complete is taking them the whole day, and that's really stressful. So if you do have this kind of situation where you don't have a dedicated insurance person, which is most small practices, and your team isn't finishing their tasks, consider figuring out a time of day that your team member could literally walk away from their post and shut the door and work on this and just complete it. I think a good time of day for this to happen is either right in the morning or right after lunch, after everyone checks in, because there's a little bit of a lull with people checking out. I think that's a great time for your team, your strong team member, to step away while maybe some other ones fill in, and then they get stronger too because they get the opportunity to learn. It's a win-win all around, and your patient's benefits get verified accurately. But the technology aspect is going to shift everything. When we get there all the way, it's already shifting everything. With that, just the eligibility is saving you a ton of time. It's less admin burden for your team. It's going to lead to less burnout, higher case acceptance. We want to get to the point, if you're not there now, where you are presenting treatment on the date of diagnosis. This is so important because you just spent, as the dentist and the clinical team, you just spent all of this time creating urgency for the patient. And now they're coming up to the front to get their treatment plan. And if their treatment plan isn't ready because the insurance breakdown wasn't entered properly, or they're trying to still figure out red tape restrictions, they're going to leave. And then your team member, your admin team, is going to have to call them later with their treatment plan. Your case acceptance just plummeted because that patient forgot what you said. And they don't answer the phone the first time. Ask any admin team member, when they call a patient, they do not answer the phone. It's 1, 2, or 3 times. So now your admin team, instead of having nothing to do when the patient leaves on their plate, now they have at least 4 phone calls, plus they're figuring out a treatment plan. This is not ideal. Figure out a system, or watch these trainings on Vine, because I did lay it out in at least one of them. Figure out a system and learn the system on how you can estimate copays accurately and foresee denials the date of diagnosis, so that when the patient leaves, they are scheduled and they have their treatment plan in their hands. It's going to make a huge difference on your cash flow, and your team is going to be a lot less stressed because they won't have as much to do. You can foresee and avoid unexpected denials. You can reduce the amount of awkward conversations when your team is having to chase balances and make collection calls. You can get paid in full in 30 days the majority of the time by tweaking systems and just getting 1% better every day. It's a win-win all around, and I'm so excited for you to experience it. Question number 4, how do you educate and empower your patients and offices to prioritize work-life balance? Honestly, it starts with structure. Burnout isn't usually caused by too much dentistry. It's caused by unclear roles, constant interruptions, and financial uncertainty. And that goes for your team, for the practice owner, and for the patients. Financial uncertainty plagues everyone. But if we can solve the one for your patients and for your team, when your team is presenting a treatment plan, they don't want to be guessing. They are the ones that get beat up later if they were wrong. They want to know with certainty that they are right. So what happens? What happens is that they kind of start to rely on pre-Ds, which I'm not saying there's never a situation that warrants a pre-D, but if most of your treatment plans are pre-Ds, that's a problem in your system for estimating copays and forcing denials. You can train your team how to do this and do this really successfully. When teams are trained properly and expectations are clear, patients know what to expect financially. The financial conversations are calm and confident, which really comes through because what your team thinks about what they're saying, the patient can read that. Financial conversations are clear and calm and confident, and how your team feels about money and what they're saying, the patient believes more than the words they're saying. They can feel it. Teams are not chasing money after the fact when they get this right. They're finishing their to-do list. They're not doing double work and having admin tasks that are a mile long because of things that could have been avoided. Their teams aren't creating rules for the 1% random thing that happened one time or the once in a blue moon stressful thing, which it's really easy to get caught in that trap. So one example of this is when teams start using e-statements. They'll send out 3,000 e-statements and then they get 10 calls and the 10 calls say, we thought this was spam, or we're mad that you're texting us. Okay, deal with those 10. Don't change the rule for the 3,000. But so many of us get scared. And if it's like, if the 10 feel this way, then they probably all feel that way. No, they probably don't. Actually, people like Apple Pay. Actually, people don't want to call you. They want to text you. People don't want to be interrupted or have to have a check. Nobody has a check anymore. Okay, millennials and lower don't have checks anymore. We want this easy. Also, we're working when you're working, so we can't call you during your business hours. Make it easy for us to pay. The Blue Moon events. I had one team that I was training on site, and they were printing out the insurance breakdown from the insurance portal, and they were putting their initials on it and rescanning it in. And I said, why are you doing this? You could just download it. And they said, well, we need our initials on it. I said, oh, no problem. We could put our initials right here in the note. They said, no, we need to write our initials on it. And I said, why? And she explained something that happened where this person said this person did it and this person, and it wasn't done, and the patient got mad, and there was a balance left over of a couple $100, and it was a problem. And I said, okay, I understand that. It really stinks when patients get mad and we have to deal with it. How long ago was that? 13 years ago. I said, okay, how many times has it happened before that? That was the first time. Okay. And it's never happened again after because you had the system in place. Yes. Okay. Well, how about we just for kicks and giggles for the next month, we try doing it where you type your initials in. Would that be okay? Can you try that for just a month and see what happens? So they tried it. All of a sudden, it's fine. We know who did it because their initials are there. It doesn't have to be handwritten, but that was a system they never questioned. Or if your team is printing statements and then scanning them into the document center and then mailing the statement, that's a whole lot of extra admin burden that they really don't need to do because you don't need a physical copy. You have the ledger. Well, if you're not comfortable reading the ledger, let's fix that. I'm so excited. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Work-life balance is possible when you get systems in place to kind of cut the admin burdens that are repetitive and they're wasteful of time, and they really don't need to be there because sometimes whatever the little sticky point is, you can train out. Handle the once in a blue moon events as they come and hold it here objectively, deal with it and move on, but don't change your systems that are working. Work-life balance becomes possible when systems are predictable, when the team is finishing tasks and executing systems predictably, and they're all doing the same system, they're all on the same page, and when the practice isn't constantly in reactive mode and fixing problems and dealing with angry patients. Balance comes from clarity, not just time off. Question number 5. What is one piece of advice that you would give dental professionals looking to grow their practice? Oh, I love this one. Learn the paid in 30-day system. If you want to grow your practice, if you want to get paid in full, it is easier to grow your practice when you have healthy cash flow and when your teams are working efficiently and not wasting time anymore. Stop relying on talent alone and start investing in repeatable systems and consistent team trainings. The rock stars at the front desk, a lot of them are self-trained, or a lot of them were trained by the person who was self-trained. There's not a degree for this. So they might be doing it right, and they might be doing it the long way, but they don't know. So if you think about anything we do now, compared to 30 years ago, do we shop the same way we did 30 years ago? No. Do we buy plane tickets the same way we did 30 years ago? No. Do we do almost anything the way we did 30 years ago? The answer is no. But our insurance systems, so many of us are still doing the systems we did 30 years ago because there has never been a stop that says, okay, let's transition, let's pivot, let's do it this way, let's try it. Let's try it for 30 days and then we're fine. It's possible and it's within reach. Growth does not come from working harder. It comes from working smarter. I know that's cliche, but clear expectations, systems that work, checks and balances to make sure systems are happening, and checks and balances will find problems before they're huge. So if you have a person constantly looking at your KPIs for insurance aging and your aging report, and they know what they're looking for, and they know to look for the percentages because the dollar amounts really, they don't mean that much, especially if you're a growing practice, the percentages for the things that are like the money that's current versus the money that's over 90, if you're looking at that consistently and they start to go out of whack, you can find that really fast before you're behind the 8 ball if you're looking at it consistently. Checks and balances with your revenue cycle is so important, and there should be multiple eyes on your cash flow at all times to making sure it's healthy. When teams are trained in how treatment plans are presented, how finances are discussed, and how follow-ups work, everything improves. Case acceptance, collections, morale, time freedom, it all gets better and your burnout goes down. Practices that get paid efficiently, they're not lucky. They are trained. Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. In closing, if you have any questions about private training, I do travel on site and I also do it virtually. We have everything from mini courses to extended courses that have support throughout them. Let me know. I'm happy to help you. Also, there's several webinars on Vine in the history, so look for them. And then we have another one coming up on February 17th. It's a no fluff guide to fix your AR. Don't want to miss that. If we're already past February 17th when you're watching this, don't worry, the recording is available. Just check the show notes because there's a link and it will bring you right to the recording. Thank you so much for having me. Happy collecting, and I will see you next time. Bye.